It is chet. Your obligation in the family of Yahweh is primarily to your brothers and your sisters, i.e., those who what? Hear the word of Yahweh and do it. So you need to ask yourself today, who is my mother? Who are my brothers? Who is my family? Who is my true family? That's what we need to be asking ourselves today. A lot of us have the paradigm all wrong. And then what we do is, because we're trying to rescue what we perceive to be our true family, based on biology and our offspring and those who have blood relations with, we wind up beating our head against the wall in frustration. And Yahweh says, don't beat your head in the wall in frustration. They're not your family. That's radical stuff. But she's my mom, not your family. Nobody can take care of her like I can. Yeah, but if she's not washing the blood, she's not your family. But I have a marriage certificate. Sorry. Not washing the blood, she's not your family. See, that's so radical because that's heaven's perspective. And heaven's perspective sometimes contradicts our perspective, and these things are contrary to one another, so you can't do what you will. The flesh wars against the spirit, and the spirit wars against the flesh. And these two perspectives are contrary one to another, so that you cannot do what you will. I want my son to love me, but he doesn't. Now what? Do I chase a tail? When I'm the head? When you're the head? Turn to your neighbor and say, I'm the head. Turn to your neighbor and say, my tail chasing days are over. My tail chasing days are over. Now watch this, verse 49, YHWH 12:49. He stretched forth his hand to make sure we understood who he was talking about. YHWH 12:49. He stretched forth his hand toward his what? Talmidim, and said, see my mother, my father, and my Israelite brothers. Oh, say, can you see? Oh, say, can you see my Israelite family? And many of us, yeah, but Rabbi, come on, stop kidding yourself. That's my mother, that's my brother, that's my cousin. I mean, I know. I'm not saying you don't know who your family is. I'm saying stop trying to be the Ruach HaKodesh in their life. You can't. Trust me, about 10 years ago, I tried being Yahweh, and I failed miserably, and I went to early retirement. You cannot be Yahweh. You cannot change your child, your spouse, your cousin, your uncle, your aunt. Only the Ruach HaKodesh can change them. And if you try to chase them down and love on them when they're counting the days until your demise, you're a fool. You're not a disciple. You're a fool. You need to take that energy and love the blood-washed, redeemed, firstborn of the living Elohim. Take that same energy. I don't care what you call it. That same koach. And love on the brethren in the family. Your primary obligation are those who have obtained like precious faith. Verse 50. For whoever will do the will of my Abba, who is in the Shamayim, the same is my brother, my sister, and my mother. Notice, he didn't say, well, they're in my family. He said, no, whoever does the will of Yahweh, my Abba in the Shamayim. That is my brother, that is my sister, that is my Ima. And we are Yeshua's what? Younger brothers and sisters. So if the disciples, the Talmidim, are his family, they are also our family. What is my word to you today? The holidays were a sober reality of all those things that have gone wrong in your family. And you need to stop blaming yourself and hitting yourself over the head, because it wasn't just you. It was the Ruach HaKodesh that can change them, has not found a welcome place yet in their heart to change them. Not to agree on everything, but to at least remove that murderous spirit. Because 1 John says, if you hate your brother or your family member in your heart, you are a murderer, and the love of Yahweh doesn't dwell in you. Your true family is now Yeshua's family. That's why I shepherd the sheep. That's why when somebody's walking out of order, I tell them to stay home. That's why when someone doesn't toe the line, I tell them to rethink their thinking or move on. Not because I'm a dictator, not because I'm mean-spirited, not because I'm a dominating personality, because part of my job as a shepherd is to keep this chemistry in balance. Amen. To make sure that we're all walking in one accord. Amen. That's part of my job. It's not the easiest part of my job, but it's part of my job. So I'd rather have 35 people who are walking in one accord than have 65 and having everybody marching out of order. So our true family now is Yeshua's true family. If you belong to Yeshua, you belong to me. If I belong to Yeshua, I belong to you. We are members one of another. You and I share Yeshua's family. Those who hear Yeshua's teachings from heaven, those who do Yeshua's teachings from heaven, Torah, by following through and applying them all the days of their lives. Notice, it's not just a matter of being blood redeemed and blood washed. Did you notice that? It's not just a matter of being blood redeemed. It is a matter of, verse 50, doing the will of Yahweh. And see, here's the bad part. You can't make up your own will. Go to church, feed the homeless, clothe the naked, keep Sunday, celebrate Easter, celebrate Christmas, eat bacon, use Thanksgiving and replace Sukkot with Thanksgiving. Sorry, you're not doing His will. You may be doing things you learned as a child. You may be doing things that make you feel good, but these are not His will. Before we can claim to have brothers and sisters as our primary family, we've got to make sure that we aren't just trusting by faith in Yeshua, but that we're living by the faith of Yeshua. Amen. Here's the call to be a Talmid. Have the faith in Yeshua, death, burial, and resurrection, for He was delivered for our transgressions and raised again for our justifications, Romans 4:25. But also to have WWYD emblazed in our lifestyle. What would Yeshua do? If Yeshua celebrated Christmas and Easter and ate ham, count me in. I'm going to bake that honey and honey that bake, and I'm getting in line right now. Why shouldn't I? If you can show me in the Word of Yahweh, where Yeshua cut down trees and hung balls and wow, 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 wow. Absolutely. I love tweez and I love eggnog, in case you hadn't noticed. Why should I eat egg beaters when I can drink eggnog? But what happens if He didn't do it? And I am doing those pagan things. Now I'm washed in the blood, but I'm sure not doing His will. And now am I saying, am I really part of His family? So, as human beings, we need a human family. True? That's not a revelation, right? I mean, it doesn't get any more basic than that, right? Needing a human family means I've got to find other human beings, right? Right here in the house of Yahweh are those other human beings who love Yeshua, but P.S., postscript, are doing the work of Yeshua. Shabbat, Moadim, Bar Mitzvah, Brit Milah. Because we've obtained like precious faith. We've had a blood transfusion of the Kadosh blood and the obedience following His Torah. Going to YHWH 13:55. YHWH 13:55. Another question. So when Yeshua said, who is my brother? Who is my father? Who is who are my family? And He tells you, He says, those who hear and those who do. You know what He said? Yeah. And here we are chasing tails. Just because they have the same blood. We should not be chasing those in our family who are diametrically opposed to who Yeshua has made us to be. We are to leave them on the altar and let Yahweh deal with them in His time and in His